So there's been a lot of talk recently about the Vancouver Canucks, and I think right now this might be a really good time to make a video like this because everybody is a little bit rejuvenated, right? Canucks fans, we're not feeling as terrible as we did 2 days ago when the team had blown a whole bunch of leads and ended up getting spanked, quite frankly, by the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Vancouver Canucks now have a win. They played off against a Barkov and Tkachuk-less Florida, and they ended up winning in overtime. Great. So now I think because we're coming off of a high, it is an appropriate time to make this video diving into the Vancouver Canucks' most expensive superstar caliber player and asking the question, what's up with this guy? Because when it comes to Vancouver Canucks forward Elias Pettersson, he has been struggling. That is very clear. He has 1 point in 4 games so far throughout the opening moments of the season. He's on pace for 21 points in 82 games played, which is a far decline from the 89 points he had last year. And in fact, honestly, with the way that Canucks fans were talking about Elias Pettersson last year, post-All-Star break and into the playoffs, you might even be surprised that he had hit 89 points on this season. You would think that because of the way everybody was talking about him, the guy was like at 50 or 40 points. But no. The fact is, Elias Pettersson was so good in the opening parts of last year and in the January portion of last year that the fact that he only finished off the season with 89 points was a pretty ridiculous way to go out because his point production ended up slowing down in a pretty significant capacity after that All-Star break. And into the playoffs as well, he only had 6 points in 13 games when the Vancouver Canucks made the second round and were 1 game within making the third round. They needed their top guys to step up. Elias Pettersson did not do that. JT Miller did. Elias Lindholm did. Quinn Hughes did. Besser did. Petey did not. So now, it's bled into the start of the regular season in 24-25. A lot of people have been making their points known. Justin Bourne spoke about this on TV, how Pettersson is not in the right mental place. Donnie and Dolly had an entire segment about Pettersson after the Tampa Bay game, where Don Taylor was like kind of ripping on the guy, saying, hey, like, drive the net. Why are you not driving the net? There was one particular clip from that Tampa Bay game that they were talking about where Pettersson on the short-handed rush ended up just kind of lightly backhand flipping the puck on goal instead of making a play, instead of driving to the net, instead of ripping a shot through. And Don Taylor's response was, hey, he's got to be hurt. There's no way he is physically okay, and he's refusing to take the shots that he would normally take. Let's say if it was 3 or 4 years ago, if it was rookie Elias Pettersson, he'd be flying down the wing and ripping it on goal. There were questions about his training, his off-season leg strength, whether or not he's been working on that because he's still falling down, he skates like Bambi, etc., etc. These are all criticisms that we have seen from various parts of the Canucks consuming body, either fans, either analysts that cover the team, etc., etc. The Elias Pettersson conversation has been a big one. And I will say that a lot of that has to do strictly because of the price tag. If he wasn't making $11.6 million a year, it would be a lot easier to give him the pass. It would be a lot easier for him to not be a superstar and not have people clamoring on him about it. JT Miller's making $8 million a year, and he's providing so much more for the Vancouver Canucks than Petey does right now. So that's kind of where a lot of that comes from. With this in mind, I wanted to go over to a Reddit post posted on the Canucks sub from before the Florida Panthers game. So this was from yesterday, posted by Jack French 9. What I like about this post is that it dives into an idea that we might not have actually seen before, but one that I do think is worth talking about. So here's the post right here. My biggest worry with Elias Pettersson is that he's being forced to play a style of game that doesn't suit him. Rick Tocchet was never a superstar. He never played superstar hockey. His entire game plan is one that can be played without superstars. Relentless forechecking, minimal east-west passes, dump and chase, and very little risk-taking in the neutral zone. One of my big concerns now is that this style of play doesn't bring out the best in Pettersson. It's killing his confidence. What's one thing everybody has been saying about Petey since Tocchet came to Vancouver? Why does he fall over so much? He's falling over because he's trying to play a physical game that requires body mass and core strength that he doesn't really have. I'm worried that his confidence is wrecked because he's a square peg being forced into a round hole. We've seen other players who just can't seem to get on board with Tocchet's style of play. Being forced to play a suboptimal role would destroy anybody's confidence. There's an old phrase I heard somewhere: if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. Right now, Petey is that fish. His best assets have been taken away from him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he hates playing Tocchet's style. He's the guy who rips cross-ice passes and finds guys in infinitesimal spaces to set up goals. He dekes goalies. He's got the trick shots. But with Tocchet behind the bench, I'm not sure he's allowed to use them. I really hope I'm wrong here and that things correct themselves. I'd love to look back on this in a few months and say, wow, I was such a moron. But I don't know. I have a really bad feeling about all this. I wouldn't put myself on one extreme side of the argument or the other. I'm not a copium fanboy, and I'm not overly critical of Petey. I just want to see him play his best again. Given the money we forked out for him, we really need to see a return to his best sooner rather than later. And it's a pretty interesting idea, because for Rick Tocchet, I don't want to say it's like guaranteed, but we've seen this a few times with different personnel over the past few years, that if a player plays a certain way and then that player becomes a coach or a GM, they'll usually bring elements of their own game style into what they envision onto the ice. Like, for Rick Tocchet, he was a hard-nosed player. He scored a lot of points, yes, but he was a hard-nosed guy who played hard-nosed hockey, and thus his players, as a coach, play hard-nosed hockey too. Pat Verbeek, same thing. He doesn't like Trevor Zegras as a player. He likes more so of that gritty Leo Carlsson, Mason McTavish, Cutter Gauthier type of guy. And for Rick Tocchet, I think it's a fair idea to bring up that, hey, he's playing this style that's not really all too dekey, it's not really too finesse-based, it's more hard-nosed. And for Elias Pettersson, he hasn't really done that in the past, that's not really his forte, so is the system part of the problem here? The first reply says, I'm seeing this take gain traction, but I don't know if I completely buy it, because we did see Elias Pettersson finish at almost 90 points last season under Rick Tocchet. Yeah, but if you watch the last two seasons, at no point last season was he playing at the level he played in 22-23. I still remember him having a flu game and having 5 points, including the shootout winner. And then another reply says, I don't think that has to do with Tocchet to this extent. Pettersson is still allowed to skate the puck in to make a play because he does it multiple times each game. In fact, Tocchet has said multiple times that he wants his players to hold onto the puck longer to look for better plays. That's a coach who wants his players to use their skill. The problem is, Pettersson simply doesn't look as quick anymore. Even his strides look different. If he can't create chances on the rush with speed and can't grind it out in the corners either, then good luck trying to score in today's NHL. Quinn is a great example of this. When you watch him play, nothing says rigid structure. He won't be as quick anymore with patellar tendonitis. Once you have it, it flares up often. He will be playing through pain for a long time now. I've had it for about 10 years now. Flares up every few months, with or without exercise. And if that seems to be the case here, if Elias Pettersson really is just going to be suffering from tendonitis his entire career here, then I don't know what to think. Really, I mean, he's a 100-point caliber guy. He's a 30, 40, maybe 45 goal caliber guy if he's healthy. But with this in his system, is he ever going to be 100% healthy? Because right now, I mean, we're seeing Pettersson not take as many shots as he should, not take the shots that are given to him on a silver platter. He has a scoring opportunity, he's got a lane to the net, and instead of making the shot, he passes it off to a guy on the left side. Like, that specific play has happened so much this season and last season throughout the playoffs. It's very noticeable that he tries not to rip the puck as much as he has in the past. So, if it really is just an issue of tendonitis, or it's an issue of mental confidence, it's an issue of this system, I don't really know what to respond now with. Because at the end of the day, Elias Pettersson is making $11.6 million a year. He's expensive. And if he doesn't play like an expensive player, then where do the Canucks go from here? The Pettersson contract, I don't want to believe is going to age poorly. Like, obviously I want to be optimistic and believe in the guy that the Vancouver Canucks have, but it's already been started as a conversation talking point online, on social media, that, hey, the Pettersson contract is not looking good. Maybe it's not going to be as bad as, like, a Louis Eriksson's, for example. Actually, I don't know. Could it ever be that bad? Oh boy. No, it's not worth thinking about. It's not worth thinking about. Okay, we're going to end this video off here before I spiral into a non-ending cycle of pessimistic Vancouver Canucks thinking that will be unproductive for my health and for the video itself. So for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this is the problem with Elias Pettersson? Do you think it's the system that Rick Tocchet is playing? Do you think it's the tendonitis? Do you think it's all mental? What are your thoughts on the way Elias Pettersson has played the past few months? And I'm going to say months because this bleeds into the preseason and the playoffs last season. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.